Oh, wait. Oh, hello, hello. Okay. I've changed everything. How exciting. Wow. Are you ready to be eternally triggered? Actually, I don't know if I, wait, hold on. This compression is set way too aggressively. One sec. We are going to with this, probably for like 5 or 10 minutes, okay? This is pretty simple. It's the same thing as downstairs, so I probably shouldn't cut the lows out with the compressor. Like, I can cut out the background noise, but then I drop off if I stop talking and it sounds kind of weird, I think. Probably not good, I think. Yeah, okay, that. Have some background noise. The wonderful sounds of the, of my washing machine. Yeah, the background noises are Kino. True. You on Totally Not Mark because he was a random anime channel, but that was one of your best anything else episodes yet. You had a great dynamic. I thought he was okay, but I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling the Europeans anymore. I feel like there's... Every time I see him, I just feel disgusted. No, I'm just kidding. He was actually super cool. It was probably one of our best guests for the show, yeah. Well, I don't like to say that. We shouldn't say that because then I feel like I'm like judging all my prior guests. Hutch was really good too. Actually, so was Tom was good too. Everybody we've had so far has been good, I think. Okay, do I want more headspace for this so that I don't get... Okay, yeah, okay. Oh, also I'm louder on everything now too, since you guys always complain about me being quiet. I think this is too loud. Like, I'm in the red now constantly, but I don't know where your fucking retarded audio setups are normally at. Fuck you guys. It's way too loud. It's too loud. It's giga loud. Okay. It sounds blown out. Oh, I have, wait. Here we go. Okay. Hello, 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 hello. Oh, I don't have any EQ set on this thing yet either. I just turn it off. Okay. I don't know how much of a difference that makes. I could turn this off. That's getting rid of the compressor completely, but now I think I'm a little bit too quiet. This is boosting a bit. I could try running with just no compressor actually and just bump the gain for a bit. We can try that. Fuck it, why not? Actually, wait, hold on. People just don't understand that streams with headroom for audio volume changes and videos playing while you're talking aren't going to be as loud as pre-recorded videos that are volume optimized and uploaded to YouTube. Most of what's on YouTube isn't volume optimized. It's just, everything just needs to be loud. I feel like everybody wants everything to be in a very, very, very narrow audio band now. I feel like I think this is fine. We'll roll with this for a bit. If I see a bunch of people complaining it's too quiet or too loud, we'll figure it out. Do a high pass filter in 100 hertz, but I normally talk at that volume anyway. Just kidding. Or not volume, frequency, sorry. Okay, test, this should do nothing. Okay, we could do this up to 100 and then make this high pass and then drop that off. Ooh, did I just become testing? 1, 2, test, test, test. 100 hertz. This is 100 hertz if I cut it off here. I can't tell if that's making me sound so or not. I don't even know if this is, okay, whatever. That's a high pass filter. I don't know if that's even doing anything. Fuck it, don't care. Okay, we'll say this is fine. We'll roll with this for now and see how it goes. You have a lot of bass at the moment. Do I? We'll see. God, fuck, wait. Have I ever posted a picture of my setup before? Is this anywhere on the internet? Like of my computer and my mixers and everything? Only the Tom video? Oh, link me the Tom video. Do you have a noise gate anywhere in your chain? Nah, fuck that shit. Why did I search for this?
Former
I don't know why I clicked this.
is your number one goal.
Okay, literally none of you care about this, and I don't care. Because I care about this. Okay. All right, I have 2 channel strips up here that I've eliminated. I have a mixer over here that I've eliminated, and then there's a digital audio switcher over here that I eliminated. 4 different devices gone, replaced with 1 machine, okay? Oh, it feels good. I can't tell right now, though, if my microphone sounds significantly different than it did before, or if it's the headphone out, if the headphone monitor sounds a little different than it did before. I can't tell. I'm also not 100% sure. It sounds very different. It sounds different. It sounds good. It sounds quite different. Okay, I can't, yeah, I don't know. Because I've got it, now it's a different amp and it's a different, whatever, you know. Okay. A different monitor, different headphone out. Okay. The curve of compression sounds more aggressive. Like as soon as you make noise, it shoots to 80% volume. Yeah, because you guys need it loud all the time. Okay? I don't know why. Okay, hold on. Screams hurt now. Oh, ho, ho, let us bring it down. Bring it down, yes. Oh, ho, ho, oh. Oh, hello. Okay, wait. Hold up. Wait. Around here? Hello. Nope, too quiet. Hello. Nope. Hello. Anytime you mumble, it's way less audible. Wait, can you not hear me mumbling right now? If I mumble right now, you can't hear me. No, it's good. Yes, we can. Okay. Hello. And then when I'm loud. Is that fucked? Hello. Testing. 1, 2. Oh, this is with... Well, this is if I turn my compressor off completely. But now when I'm talking, if I talk right here, it looks to me like I'm in a good range when I talk here. But you guys all say this is way, 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 way too quiet. I don't understand. I don't know what most people are listening on that. This is way too quiet. It's way too quiet right now. But if I get really loud here, there's going to be a huge... There's like a huge difference in volume. What does it sound like to me? Hold on. What does it sound like to me? Hold on. way too quiet. I don't understand. I don't know what most people are listening on that. This is way too quiet. It's way too quiet right now. But if I get really loud here, there's going to be a huge... There's like a huge difference in volume. What does it sound like to me? Hold on. I just don't know what most people are listening on. I have no idea. It doesn't... Fuck. I need to ask you guys. I need to go to your homes and audio test and see what the fuck... What are you guys listening to me on? What happens if I, what does this do? Testing, 1, 2. That does nothing. Cool, okay. What is this for? I don't know. Don't even know. Okay, don't care about this. And then if I turn this off, will you lose my mic? Too? Yeah, you do. Okay. Okay, reset this. Okay, this, okay. Right now, can you see on your audio setup? I just have one program. It's just called Total Mix. That's what I'm looking at. Okay. My current sound right now, what needs to change? When I mumble, can you hear me as I mumble? My very quiet sounds right here, are they audible or are they too quiet? Are we okay right now? Or is it too quiet right now? When I'm mumbling, I'm very upset right now. Okay, I'm kind of triggered. That's why I'm mumbling. Okay, RTBA has just rebanned another person that I unbanned who sent me an email saying that they want to be forgiven. And RTBA just emailed me saying they actually have 400 alt accounts. Okay, this is fine. Okay. Okay, so if my quiets are fine, this is my middle talking voice, okay? I'm talking now. I'm having an ordinary conversation, okay? This is the part where I explain that RTBA is a trusted mod, all right? And even if he unbans people, all right, sometimes, and he rebans people, but it's never personal, okay? He's always got really good reasons. It's never because of personal grudges, right? We're talking right now. Okay, this is fine. Okay, all right. Then we want to take, okay, we want to expand the red part. No, we want to shrink the red part that would get compressed. Okay, hold on. Reset. Okay. The red part that would get compressed is up here. Hello. Okay, hold on. Wait. Okay. No. Let's go a little bit negative. Okay, right up. Okay. When we hit the very, okay. Now we're starting to get upset. Okay, because now RTBA is rebanning everybody. Okay, hold on. Okay, wait. Nope. Hold on. Too much. Negative 11. Hello? Wait. How does this go? Oh, no, wait. That's all the way at the top. Okay, negative 15. Okay. When we hit up here at the top, we want to taper off completely or just a bit. Let's set it to like 8. Okay, now we're fighting a lot. Now I'm getting really fucking angry. I'm getting very upset, okay? Hello? Is my microphone peaking at this volume? Okay, wait, hold on. Okay. If I turn down my gain here, okay, and if I make it up here, does this even change it? Let's try this. Okay, hey! What is... Hello? Okay, wait. Still just a little bit. Okay, let me cut 5 more from this. We'll do 45. And we'll add 5 more here. 15. Okay. Now I'm here. Wait, do I even have a compressor now? Wait, hello? Hey! Oh shit, hold on. No, wait, now it's too loud on the top, right? 5. 15. We're going to try this at negative 25. Okay, hold on. Okay, this is my... Okay, we're mumbling. I'm kind of mumbling down here. This is my ordinary talking voice up here. Okay, hello, talking up here. All right, okay. Now I'm at the very top. This is as loud as I can fucking be, okay? I can't be any fucking louder than this, all right? I would never, ever be louder than this. Is it still too aggressive, or is it fine? Okay, all right. Is that good? Okay. All right, now we just need to make sure that we have sound on all of our computers. Okay, these are my... You guys hear what's... On the microphones, you guys hear this over here. And then I just need to keep everything straight. These are my speakers up here. This is what I hear in my headphones. I can turn it off. Okay. And then I can turn it back on. Okay. These are sounds coming in through here. Why did somebody just say echo? Is there an echo, or is this guy getting a huge 180-day ban? Oh, see you later. Okay, you're banned. I thought he was okay, but I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling the European. Shut up.
Kind of surprising that Dennis kind of walked into this very easy to avoid trap. Like, there's definitely a strong argument to be made, and I would agree a true argument, that obviously the right in America, the Conservative Party, the Republican Party, has been much more concerned with limiting immigration for the last 30 years, 40.
I see. Okay. So you guys hear what's over here on this thing here. Wait, could I theoretically... Does this impact anything? Hold on.
Years than the Democrats are. I think that goes without... I think most people would... Like, everyone would agree to that statement, right? But he kind of he changes the argument. He makes it, like, so hyperbolic.
No? Okay. All right. Okay, and then does my keyboard work? Right? Does this work? Does it sound, is it volume equalized? Does this clip at all? Is it loud, or is it ordinary volume? Ordinary, okay. Based. Okay, everything's fine, right? Okay. Okay, I'm thinking I'm going to, I'm trying to think of a gimmick for how, once I do all this research, okay? Well, it's not gonna, I mean, making the videos and everything will be good. Even if I just do videos and stuff, that'll be good. But one thing I'm thinking is, what if I could get, let me do this shit, okay. I thought about putting up like a $10,000 bet against conservatives for an open debate challenge on this subject. The only issue I have, though, is we'd have to come to some agreement over how it would be moderated. Because I feel like that would be a little attention grabby. Because like if there's a free 10 grand out there for, you know, undecided audience sway, I would never ever trust it to like a poll like that. It's too much, yeah. Too many potentials for memery. Automatically determine input sensitivity. Let's not do that. Okay, hello? Where's... Okay. Just making sure my Discord's not going to be dumb. Oh, hello, hello, hello.
Hello, how you doing?
You know, I'm doing okay. Just chilling.
Good. I don't know, are we supposed to yell at each other this debate or not? It don't matter to me.
I'm always up for yelling, but no, we don't have to.
We might by the end of it. That's okay. So what was this debate? Flat Earth, gravity? Isn't that where we left off here?
Hold on, wait. Who came in here? I thought this was Rob Noor.
It's Rob. It is.
Wait,
I saw your
you're
little
not a
clip,
flat
though.
earther, are you?
No. I saw your little clip though of the was that a January 6th debate, modern day debate?
It absolutely was.
We got the good ones on our side, man. Yeah.
True. Okay, wait, hold on. People say Rob is too loud. 100%.
That's just my normal speaking voice. I know you're messing with your audio. That's fine.
Well, no, because now it's Discord, so I never know who's too loud or who's not or who's... Hold on, wait. Wait 1 second. I'll be back.
Okay.
We're going to throw ourselves into the dirty masses, and we're going to see if, on average, if their volume is too loud or not. Let's check. Good luck.
Mobile, and this way just pick up and leave and go to
3 months
quote unquote. Yeah, they don't have that. They don't have the 1 month's rent. They're already behind to a couple of months. So no, that's out of the fucking question.
You don't if you're behind, you fucking move.
You cannot. You can't afford to move, sir.
How can you not afford to move?
That was a question about 3 months rent.
You have to have 3 months rent.
3 months.
You need to put down a deposit in some places with 3 months rent. And if I can't if I can't pay the current rent I have, and I'm 2 months behind, where the fuck do I get like the 3 months?
Where the fuck are you moving? You need to put down 3 months rent as a deposit. What the fuck? What is your credit score? Like 350? What the fuck?
They're talking about major cities because that's the only place that exists in America.
No.
Time to throw puck champ. 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 XQCL.
Okay, whoever that guy is, he just got permanent ban from the server. Good luck.
You.
Damn, that guy just got assassinated. Good luck, moderators, unbanning that guy if he sends you a DM to get unbanned. Don't ever ask this again. Okay, all right, try talking again.
All right, check.
Yeah, okay, you're fine. All right, cool. Okay.
All right. So saw your debate with Andrew on January 6th. Kind of helped him with his introduction a little.
Nice.
I think that the problem was there were two different reasons for that debate. We could argue about whether or not following the prompt of the debate's important, blah, blah, blah. The reason that you want to talk about this debate is Democrats want to hyper-focus on January 6th so that they could have all their worst impulses to use lawfare and to dehumanize their opposition, which you did an incredible job of saying that anybody that goes to a Trump rally is fucking around and finding out, even when an innocent firefighter gets killed, whatever. That Andrew's point is, seeing as how you've in the past actually supported the rationale for insurrections as a politically useful tool, he's totally willing to accept your definition of the term insurrection if you concede that Democrats engage in it as well, because he's making a broader point that you're only interested in looking at this issue in a vacuum to demonize your opponents, but you actually don't really give a shit about insurrections at all, and you'll support them when they occur on your side. That's exactly what my feelings are on this. And the fact that you use a definition of insurrection that I think is incredibly too broad, that would literally encompass thousands of examples in the past 100 years since the last time Section 3 of the 14th Amendment was used, shows sort of the gamesmanship of this. And I think that both you, legal scholars, prosecutors on the left and the Democratic Party don't give a shit about this at all, which is why they haven't tried to use Section 3 for over 100 years. They just see it as yet another attempt in their long-standing efforts to demonize Trump and his supporters and to go after him using lawfare, as they've been doing since 2016.
Okay, I feel like you kind of give away the whole game plan with this model, but we can walk through this. Okay, so You say that Democrats want to focus on January 6th to use lawfare and dehumanize their opposition. That is a take. It could also be that people focus on January 6th because insurrections are extremely exceptional events and they are extremely exceptionally bad, especially when they are cheerleaded by a president. I think that if it is the case that you believe that January 6th was an insurrection, and if you believe that the president cheerled it or caused it, it would probably be a really good thing to focus on. I think that is completely and totally fair. For supported insurrections as a political tool, I mean, insurrections are political tools. You would support them, I guess, when you would agree with the insurrection, like in the case of 1776, when we rebelled against the British. You'd probably oppose them when you feel like the insurrection is done for bad reasons. I think that's totally fair. I don't think literally a single person on the planet would disagree with that. Obviously, it's not about whether or not you would support the concept of an insurrection or not. It's about whether or not you would support it in a particular circumstance. For January 6th, I wouldn't support it. When you would say that you could accept, or Andrew or you could accept my definition of insurrection, as long as I would declare BLM riots as insurrections, again, I feel like that gives away your whole game. Why would it ever be contingent upon me declaring other things as insurrections? The answer should be, or your requirement should be, it's okay that I'll accept your definition of insurrection, but you have to apply it evenly, which is fair, obviously. If I'm going to agree to a definition, I think I would definitely apply it evenly. However, I can already predict, and we can go down that road if you want, I can already predict how that entire conversation will go. You and Andrew both know this. There is no love lost between me and BLM. If we do this debate, and if you debate this at 20 million %, you make the best possible points. The only possible thing that you can do is just move me into believing more BLM riots were insurrections. So I don't, but if we can go down that road if you want, I'd be interested in exploring it. When you say that I use a definition of insurrection that's too broad, we can also talk about that. Again, the definition that I'm using is the one that is found historically, both in law and in writing and in Congress. And if you have a better one that is more historically and legislatively and legally supported, then we could talk about that. I've never heard one before offered by your side. And then when you say people haven't used Section 3 in over 100 years, it's also possible that after the Civil War, nobody tried to rebel against the government in over 100 years. Again, exceptional circumstances call for exceptional measures.
Okay, so how about this? In the interest of fairness, I am willing to try to, as best as possible, hyper-focus on the definition of insurrection without going to things like Black Lives Matter and things like that for the first half of this discussion, if you're willing to broaden it out for the second half of the discussion. Is that fair?
Broaden it out, like broaden out what we're talking about?
So I'm saying that what you want to get out of this is to look at, was this an insurrection using the technical legal definition?
Yeah.
That's what you want to focus on. I'm willing to focus on that. However, I would like you to reciprocate to talk about what I'm interested in talking about, which is the fact that this is being selectively applied, and your definition would be so broad as to encompass thousands of examples of insurrections that you didn't give a shit about. And in fact, you've given the rationale for why you think insurrections could be good. So at best, it's a amoral term. It doesn't have goodness or badness attached to it. And I think you're selectively applying it. But I'm willing to
Okay, we can do this, but I feel like I have no problem with that, but I feel like you're literally debating the worst person on the left to accuse of being too nice to BLM. But if you want to, yeah, we absolutely can. I have no problem with that. Sure thing.
That's fine. We could get to that specifically. So let's start on the definitions of insurrection, right? I think you tell me if you agree or disagree with this. There are multiple types of definitions for a word. So there are what we understand colloquially as sort of a society to understand what a definition of a term is. Oftentimes that could be different than what the actual legal definition of the term. So for example, something like burglary. The actual legal definition of the term burglary might be different than what the average person, when they say burglary, means. Would you agree with that?
Maybe. I'm going to make this a little bit more specific. We're going to be really precise here, okay?
Okay.
I think we're going to agree. I'm just going to reframe some of what you say into a more formal sense, okay? When we define terms, there are words that we understand to mean certain things, but the way that we define a term or an event might be different than, say, all of the different elements of a particular crime that might share the same word, that might show up like in an indictment or in court. So as you said, somebody might say that, wow, this guy, he broke into my house and he broke into my house and he beat the shit out of me or something, right? He broke into my house and he assaulted me. But maybe in court, maybe it didn't count as like breaking and entering. Maybe it only counted as trespassing because of maybe a technicality because the door was open or something. I think that would still be breaking, but like something like that, right? So in this case, we've got a colloquial term. You broke into my house, and then we've got like the legally accepted definition or the legally accepted crime that shows up on an indictment that has elements that are necessary for that crime to be considered a crime, and that these can be different things, right? Do you understand? You're following me?
Yes, that's largely what I'm saying.
Okay,
that's basically what I'm saying.
Cool. Okay. Yeah.
So I think that the reason that we're having this discussion around insurrection has to do with what would the legal ramifications be, which is why we would prefer a legal definition in that sense, but also what we should do politically, like who should we vote for? What does it mean to have engaged in an insurrection? I think that term's more important. So I'll give you what my definition of the term insurrection is, and then I'll allow you, I assume you're going to use the same definition you used with Andrew, but I'll give you a chance to reread it.
Sure.
I think there were 4 parts, but this is what I came up with and what I think, and this is just off the top of my head. I said an insurrection is a group of people planning a serious attempt to overthrow the government using violence. When people hear the term insurrection, I feel that that's the generally accepted in the ballpark of what people are talking about. Has to be a group of people. They have to be using violence for an attempt, a serious attempt to overthrow the government. That's what I think people mean by insurrection. I don't think they mean protesting one law. That if you're upset with, say, mail carrying laws and that you use violence to stop a mail carrier, that you've engaged in an insurrection. So that's why I prefer the colloquial term. I'm willing to listen to what your legal definition is. I think that your legal definition, I'm going to have problems with it, which I could illustrate. And I also question whether or not January 6th meets the definition of insurrection under the definition that you'll give.
Sure.
But that's
okay. I might try to live in both worlds here, just 'cause I'm curious, but we'll see. Okay. I'm going to ask. I'm going to torture your definition a little bit. Okay. So you said a group of people planning a serious attempt to overthrow the government using violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My first question is going to be, okay, I'm about to go full Jordan Peterson on you. When you say group, does it just mean 2 or more people?
I would say, yeah. I would say that would probably fall within that definition of it, 2 or more people. I think that I'll just sort of maybe envision where you're going to go with some of this.
No, wait. Hold on real quick. Okay. Don't envision where I'm going. I'm not trying to trap you on anything. I'm just ironing out.
No, I'm just going to say it is a threshold argument.
Sure,
right?
Yeah, I understand this. And also, if by the time we reach the end of this, if you're like, this doesn't work, okay, I'm not trying to Andrew Wilson you. You can go back and amend anything if you want to. Okay, I don't care. I'm not trying to. Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, so when you say group, we mean 2 or more people. Okay, when you say people, I'm going to assume that you mean like U.S. citizens / residents, right? Like Russians coming here and trying to do something. You wouldn't consider an insurrection, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and I would say they also have to be non-state actors. Though I don't, well, let me be careful here. I have to think about this for a second because I believe in 1954, the last time that U.S. Code 2383 with the rebellion and insurrection was applied, I believe those were Puerto Rican nationals that fired weapons inside the Capitol. I think that was 1954. That was considered an insurrection. I think that probably, as long as you're a non-state actor. So I guess the difference here would be
real quick, when you're saying non-state actor, is the state you're referring to the federal government, individual state governments, or just anybody who's part of the government, period, from top to bottom?
I think it would have to be anyone that's part of the government from top to bottom in our country or a different country. So, for example, if the people affiliated with the government of Russia attacked, I don't think that's an insurrection. However, if people that happen to be Russian attacked and they're not affiliated with the state of Russia, that could be deemed an insurrection. Similarly, if a bunch of people, like let's say a general decides that he's going to try to overthrow the government, that's more of a coup, I think, than an insurrection because those are state actors. So I think when I say group of people, I'm not thinking through it too specifically. We could get into why this would matter differently, but I think that it would have to be, for it to be an insurrection, non-state actors like civilians.
Okay. And citizens that are civilians, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I don't think it has to be citizens, but yes. Like, for example, you could be an immigrant that's not a citizen and still.
I have citizens / residents.
Okay.
But like, I'm guessing like if a ton of, like, let's say a ton of DACA recipients were to try to like attack and overthrow the government, would you consider that like an insurrection or?
Yeah, I think that would if they meet the rest of the threshold, I think that would be an insurrection. That group would qualify.
Okay. I don't think this will even come up or matter, but just saying. Okay. A group of people. Fair, yeah. Okay. You said planning. What does planning mean to you?
I think that the planning has to be something that they pre-planned, and there has to be violence included in the plan that is for the purpose of the overthrow of the government. So, for example, it's not enough to say, we don't like this tax law. Right? For example, if we take the Whiskey Rebellion example, we don't like that they're taxing. We don't think the federal government should have that. They have to then go the step further and plan to use violence as part of their initiative to overthrow the government. So it's not enough to just say, we don't like what the government's doing here, and we're going to show up, and if we're attacked, we'll fight back. It has to be, we are going to use violence to change this government, to overthrow this government. That has to be part of the planning process.
Okay. They pre-plan a violent thing to overthrow the government. Okay, you have... wait, real quick. When you say violent and you say planning to use violence, does intimidation count or no? So like,
no.
let's... Okay, so if 100 people show up and they're like, we're not going to use them, but let's all like bring guns and show up in force just so that they know we mean business. That wouldn't count. If let's say every other element was met, they want to overthrow the government. They're going to all go show up with rifles and stuff, but they're like, we're probably not going to use them, but just like bring them just so that they know we're like serious. That wouldn't count.
I don't think so. I don't think that's what people today understand when they're saying the term insurrection would apply that with. For example, it's very legal in most states to open carry. I don't think exercising your right to open carry at a protest, let's say you were against the overturning of Roe v. Wade and Dobbs, right? If a bunch of pro-choicers exercise their Second Amendment rights to open carry and showed up and protest, you might be intimidated by that if you disagreed, but I don't think that qualifies as an insurrection because there wasn't planning to use violence to overthrow the government.
Speaking then to intent here, just curious, how would you ever discern in a group whether they plan to use violence or not? If let's say when they when they show up to do the insurrection, the other side like gives up immediately because they see all the people.
Well, it would be difficult, just like there's always difficult in providing intent. If you had
wait. I'm sorry, real quick, because this gets brought up so much. It's not difficult to do intent. I don't know where the solution came from, or if it only comes up in this. That's not true. All criminal prosecutions in the United States rely on proving intent. You have to have a mens rea element to commit a crime if it's not like a strict liability or whatever offense. So you can prove intent. It's not that difficult. We do it all the time in criminal court. So just to return, because I'm asking, like, it seems like you could very easily, like, I could foresee almost any insurrection being planned and be able to say, like, make sure you show up, bring guns, we might have to fight, whatever. But if you show up and nobody resists, then it feels like, well, they didn't use violence. They just brought...
And you would prove, then if it's easy to prove the intent, you would show the intent by proving that their planning included using violence to overthrow the government, as opposed to just saying we're going to arm ourselves to protect ourselves if violence is enacted against us. You'd be able to prove that easily, as you said.
What if you show up with... Well, here's a question, okay? You live in a house or an apartment, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's say that I go and I'm going to occupy your living room, okay? Because I don't want to live in Florida anymore. DeSantis makes me too mad. I'm going to go live in Rob's living room. I don't care if you want me there or not. I am going to bring a gun to protect myself, though. Do you think that if I show up like that, would you say that I'm intending to use that gun or no? My rationale would be, I'm showing up. I know I'm going to be trespassing on your property, maybe even breaking and entering. And if I bring a gun, I know you're going to want me to leave. And it's probably not likely that you're going to demand that you're going to be happy that I live there, right? So at some point, I feel like if I bring a gun, I feel like we're kind of like, I'm basically planning to use it, right? I'm kind of bringing it like, yeah, go ahead.
The analogy doesn't work very well because you're allowed to show up to protest.
Wait, real quick. Hold on. This is the only question I'm going to make of you, okay? And I'm begging you, okay? Because I love you. I appreciate you. You have a good brain, okay? That's why I'm talking about this. I like you more than Andrew, okay? Please stop trying to head off my arguments, okay? I'm not... If you say something and later on I bring up a point and you're like, oh, this doesn't work, we can go back and we can amend any definition you give me. I'm not trying to trap you or crucify you on something you said. So if you want to change something later, that's fine. But don't try to give me something now trying to head off every single potential argument. You're absolutely correct for a variety of reasons. Me trespassing on private property doesn't mean the same thing as me going to a public protest with a firearm. I agree with you 100%. But I'm not necessarily going there. I'm just trying to figure out like how we would prove the intent of this particular thing. Like, did he plan to use a gun if I break into your house and I've got a gun on me and I'm planning, I know you're going to fight back? That's just my question, yeah.
No, I would say, I still think that it's relevant to say that the analogy is far off base. I'm not trying to hedge off arguments. I'm saying that it changes the way that we analyze things, right? But let's try to not do that for the sake of this argument and say this. Okay, no, that doesn't prove that his intent was to use that gun. His intent was to commit a crime, and he had a firearm on him, but that is still not in proof that he intended to use that firearm in order to commit his crime. No.
Okay, just curious. So I disagree with your assessment here, but I'm going to sidestep for a quick second and ask, are you aware, my understanding is that in criminal law, courts would disagree with you. So something that I'm pretty sure is true is if you were to break into somebody's, I'm speaking as a police officer, not break in. Let's say you do no-knock warrant, you get into somebody's house. If you find drugs in an area and you find a firearm right next to them, I'm pretty sure it's impossible in court that firearm can be charged like as an accessory to having like using it to defend basically drugs or whatever. That's a charge that can get added on just because of the proximity to the gun and the drugs, that a court could assume reasonably that you plan to use one to defend the other and that you can be convicted in front of a jury as a crime for this. Are you aware of this, or do you want me to? We can look up particulars on this.
I believe that. I'll take your word for it. I think that sounds reasonable. It sounds like something I've heard.
Okay.
The problem I have with that is that doesn't prove that the intent was to use that gun for a specific action to commit violence. It could show that the way that those laws are written are specifically that intimidation is a factor that could be included, that would be enough to make that charge. When I'm saying that intimidation doesn't mean what I think is the colloquial definition, then no, you would need to provide that there was some planning that planned to use violence in a serious attempt to overthrow the government.
Okay, then let's say that if I go back to the house example, so I break into your house and I say, I want to be in Rob's apartment or house. I want to be streaming from his living room because I want to. I'm going to bring a gun to protect myself, though. If I say instead, I'm going to bring a gun to protect myself, let's say that instead I say, I'm going to bring a gun because I know he's going to try to fucking attack me. And when he does, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to shoot him. Would that rise to the level of planning to use the gun or no?
So
I'm qualifying it by saying if he attacks me,
I think that if you had like, a statement where he'd said, he's sending an email to someone and he says, I'm going to rob this person's house, I'm going to break into their house, right? And I'm taking a gun because I know he'll try to interfere and then I can shoot and kill him. Yes, that would rise to the level of intent.
Okay, hold on. Let me just write these two down. Okay. I don't believe there is almost no daylight between these statements of I'm going to bring a gun to defend myself versus I'm going to bring a gun because I know he'll try to attack me, and when he does, I'll shoot him. I feel like these two statements are essentially identical if we're considering the crime of like trespassing.
I disagree. I think that there is a difference in saying that you intend, that you predict that you're going to use that gun to kill someone in the commission of you committing a crime versus you saying, I'm going to go commit a crime, and if I have to defend myself because a level of violence is bore against me, then I'll defend myself. I think those are two different things. I think the latter does not have an intent to use violence or a pre-planning to use violence to commit the crime.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me get a drink 1 second.
Now, I still would like to say I'm being generous trying to engage in the analogy, whether I think is inappropriate to what we're talking about. It's not analogous to what we're talking about. But for the sake of allowing the discussion to proceed forward.
Wait, hold on, I'm back. Okay, wait. I feel like I want to fight more on this because the law, I'm pretty sure the law completely disagrees with you here. That, like, for instance, I think during the Apple River stabbing, if we wanted to prove the difference between like a second degree versus a first degree murder, or second degree like reckless endangerment versus like I think intentional manslaughter might be a crime. I don't something like this. That like if you we should look up. If you want to take a break, also I got like 10 hours of stream today. If you want, we can start looking up criminal statutes and everything as well for guidelines. I'm pretty sure that if I were to start a fight with somebody and I had a firearm on me, I think legally, I think you automatically, can somebody tell me if I'm honest, do you automatically forfeit the right to use self-defense as an affirmative defense if you start conflict or if you start something illegal and you have a firearm on you? I think that's true. Do you agree with that, or do you want us to look this up and go into this more?
You could look it up. I don't think it'll be very germane, but I don't mind you looking up if you think it is germane. I think that I would envision that there are times that probably that's not the case. For example, if I'm going to get into fisticuffs with my neighbor and I have a gun on me, and all of a sudden in the example of those fisticuffs, he pulls a knife and starts stabbing my child, and then I use my firearm to shoot him, I'm not so sure that I still can't make a claim for reasonable self-defense there, or reasonable.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Can you walk? Hold on. What does fisticuffs mean? I'm sorry.
like a fist fight. Like if I say, hey, to hell with my neighbor, I'm going to go knock on his door. When he answers the door, I'm going to shove him, and that's assault technically. And then if he all of a sudden responds with overwhelming force, for example, he decides to start shooting at me, I'm not so sure then if I shoot back, if that still can't be made as a claim of self-defense.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
I don't know.
There is
or if he attacks someone that's with me that didn't shove him or something to that.
I understand what you're saying. There's a case.
But I don't. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a case that we watched. I was surprised at this, but I believe that a man walked over to a house to complain about music too loud, a house party, man shoots. I believe a guy goes over to a house to complain that the music is way too loud for a house party. I think he might even be standing at the end of the driveway. And I think that as he's out there, I want to say the owner comes out to argue with him. And the guy has a firearm on him, the guy that came over to complain. He says, stop coming near me. If you come near me, I'm going to shoot you or whatever. And eventually the guy does approach him. He pulls his gun and he shoots him. And I think it was the fact that he went over there, I think that weighed against him. I think if you bring a firearm and then you go to do a particular thing, I think that I think it weighs a lot against you in court. Maybe you don't automatically lose the right to self-defense, but I think it weighs really heavily against you when you're trying to prove your case for it.
I certainly would agree with that. I think that it would weigh against you. I'm just saying I don't know that it's open and shut.
Sure, it might not be open and shut, but I think it would weigh against you a lot.
But again, if I could just, and I don't mind going down this road, you feel free to interrogate my definition, that's fine. But again, I think that the analogies aren't going to apply because there has to be, in my definition, a plan of the action of attempting to overthrow the government. A series.
Oh yeah, no, sure, yeah, I understand that. We're not even at that point. Yeah, we're not even at that point yet. I'm just what I'm trying to get here is that if I hear this, okay, let me like abstract this. If I plan to go and do something, and I know I'm going to be resisted doing it, and I bring a weapon with me, I would say that the intent to use the weapon is 100% there, full stop. That if me and some friends say we want to go either break into somebody's house, we want to go rape a girl, we want to go steal candy bars from a store, we want to go vandalize somebody's car, we want to go, we just want to go do something bad that we know we plan on meeting some kind of resistance, okay? That if that's going to happen and we bring weapons with us, we're planning to use these weapons. We're going to use these weapons to ensure that we can commit the crime. We might not have to because they'll run away, they'll be too scared or whatever, but by bringing the weapon and going to do something where we expect resistance to happen, we're planning on using those weapons. That I feel like this is a 99% of society would agree with this. So if we disagree here, we can fight on this if we want, and then I'll figure out what we can look up or research to fight here. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that, again, not to belabor the point, but I think the analogy is very different. And what I'm saying, though, specifically is because I'm not talking about what the legal definition would be. I'm talking about, in the colloquial sense, if you're just asking, did this person intend to use that weapon to commit violence to this crime? If we could read into their mind or we could see their planning and they sent an email that said, look, of course, I always carry a firearm with me, but we're going to go trespass. We're going to go break into this person's house. I just have a gun in case I need to defend myself. That is different than saying, I'm going to have this gun and I'm going to use it to brandish it in that person's face and then pull the trigger so that I could steal his stuff. The second provides a clear content that there was planning and a plan of use of violence to commit the crime.
I understand what you're saying, but I feel like that second one, then you would never, ever, ever. It would be exceptional. You'd almost never see this show up because, like, even if I plan to kill somebody, I'm never gonna say it like that ever.
Well, that's true. That is true. Though the definitions or many of the cases that you've outlined of what insurrections will be, such as the
I'm not even at insurrection. I'm just trying to get on this one thing before we try to hit it off. Like I said, we can go back and reread anything. I'm trying to figure this one thing. Yeah.
Let me rephrase it real quick. What I would say is my definition seems to be better than yours then because this is never charged.
What's never charged?
The U.S. Code 2383 on insurrection or the 14th Amendment.
I'm not even trying to. I'm just trying to see how we can figure out, like, construct intent for somebody in terms of bringing a weapon to an event that they know will be violent. That's all I'm asking right now.
Okay,
we're not even at insurrection. Nothing to do with insurrection. Yeah.
What I'm saying though is, if one of your attacks on part of my definition of the term insurrection is, but that would be very difficult. We'd almost never find that being able to be applied. That seems to be exactly how things have bore out. So I don't think that it's a good criticism because it's.
I'm not even criticizing your definition. To be clear, if you want, you can literally turn on my stream. I've written Rob's definition of insurrection. I have a group of people planning a serious attempt to overthrow the government using violence. And then I said I was just going to go through, and I just want to make sure I understand every single part of this. We have group, you mean 2 or more people. You've got people, meaning U.S. citizens / residents, people here generally legally who are non-government actors. State actors, you would say, would mean a coup. And then I'm trying to figure out when you say planning, you say that means they pre-plan a violent thing to overthrow the government. And now what I'm trying to figure out is, well, what counts as pre-planning violence? That's all I'm trying to figure out. Because like in my mind, it sounds like what you're saying is, let's say that there's a kid and I want to take his lunch money. Okay. Let's say that me and 5 people go over to steal his lunch money and all of us bring knives. In my world, and I think 99% of people would agree, they would all say like, this is obviously pre-planning violence. But it sounds like in your world, you're saying, well, if they bring knives just to defend themselves while they go to steal his money and he ends up attacking them and they end up stabbing him, that doesn't mean they pre-planned the violence. But I would, and I'm pretty sure this is true in criminal court. Like I said, we can look this up and Google around if you want. If you were to bring a weapon in the commission of a crime, I'm almost positive that you automatically get charged with having that weapon, even if you don't use it. Like, or if you do end up using it, I think the intent to use it is going to be shown, I think, because if you're intending to commit the crime and using the weapon or bringing the weapon with you. But it seems like you're disagreeing on this point. But it's, just to go on the lunch money example, that if 5 people went to steal lunch money from a kid and they all brought knives with them in case he decided to fight back, I feel like that's pre-planning violence for sure. But you're saying, no, they're just planning a robbery.
Well, no. Well, the robbery in itself is an act of violence, right? Like,
wait, wait. We're not talking about. Why is a robbery itself an act of violence?
Because is like, if you're intending robbery to mean the same way that I'm looking at it, that you physically grab a possession from someone and take it, that's an act of violence.
Okay, let's just assume the robbery is going to be that his lunch money is in his desk. We're going to go to the class and we're going to take lunch money out of his desk, right?
Okay, that's a bet. So yeah, okay. So that in that case, no. I think if you thought, oh, he's not going to be there, but we all have pocket knives on us just in case we ever get into shit or in case this person would want to do something to us, but we're going to sneak in and steal that money from his desk and we just have the knives in case someone tries to intervene. No, that is not you planning to use violence to commit that crime.
Okay. I super disagree on this. I think we have to resolve this.
That's fair. But you understand that's different than me being like, hey, there's Destiny. Hold him while I take his wallet out. That to me is an act of violence. Like someone physically holding you.
But if you're doing something and you know that any reasonable mind in here would assume that there's going to be some resistance, and if you bring weapons with you, then any reasonable mind would assume you intend to use them to carry out the crime.
I disagree. I think that's, for the sake of this, I think like we could get into the details of if this is going to be important, why that's the case. I don't think it's going to end up being that important.
This might be essential, because now I'll look ahead, because you keep looking ahead in the argument, okay? But because I'm going to say that...
not to.
Well, you keep saying it's disanalogous and it doesn't refer to insurrection or wouldn't be... I'm just trying to figure out...
I've said that like 2 or 3 times. Okay. Right? That's. I think that I'm being pretty generous engaging in a hypothetical that I don't think really applies to what we're talking about. But I'm trying my best to engage in it. And, again, you have to understand, I'm not talking about the legal definition of terms. I'm talking about, to me, does that mean that that person intended to commit an act of violence? If they said, I want to steal this from someone's desk, I'm hoping they're not around. But if they are around and they start enacting violence on me, I'll be prepared to defend myself against that violence. No, I think that is different than saying, I'm going to take a weapon, or I'm going, even without a weapon, I'm going to punch this person or physically assault them in an attempt to steal what I want from them. That is clearly a planning, using violence as part of that plan. I think those are 2 different things.
Can you defend yourself while committing a crime if the other person is expected to defend themselves? So, like, for instance, if I break into somebody's house with a gun to defend myself while I'm robbing them, can I defend myself if they try to kill me while I'm stealing from them?
It's legally, I'm not sure exactly. This sort of gets back to what you said earlier. I'm sure that there's probably...
Well, I'm just asking, like, in your mind, like, does that count as self-defense? Like, I break into somebody's house because I want to steal some shit, but I bring a gun with me in case the owner's there. Owner comes downstairs, finds me, and he tries to kill me as I'm stealing his shit, and I shoot and kill him. Would you say, yeah, I mean, it was self-defense. It was legitimate.
I would say that probably is an act of self-defense that wouldn't held up legally. But
would you personally, would you consider it like morally? You'd say like, oh, he was self-defense. I think morally he was in the right there. We'll say outside of
no, I would not think he's morally in the right.
Okay, why not?
Because I think that the act of being the first person to engage in the crime means the other person has the right to defend themselves and their property. Therefore, you're already acting immorally when they have the moral righteousness to defend their property, including using acts of violence. That itself is an extension of self-defense, and so you can't claim self-defense as a moral backing to to go against someone else's claim of self-defense.
Okay, how can you? Because I would transfer that entirely to what I'm saying about the if you show up with knives to take somebody's lunch money and then you go to take it from their desk and then that person catches you and then they try to defend you, they want to protect their lunch money and then you end up stabbing them and killing them. Why wouldn't that transfer over in the same way? Like how is that different?
I'm sorry, I cut out a little on me.
If you were to show up to somebody's desk to take their lunch money with knives and the other person caught you trying to take their lunch money and then they defended it and then you ended up stabbing them while they were trying to, kill you or defend taking the lunch money, why doesn't it transfer over 100% there?
Well, it's not that it doesn't transfer over. I would still feel the same way morally. That's a different question of, did the planning of this include using violence in order to commit this act of this crime? I'd still say no.
If I break into somebody's let's say I break into somebody's house, let's say that I know they're there. I break into somebody's house and I have a gun with me. You wouldn't say that I'm planning on using that gun as part of my.
Let's move the analogy a little. Let's say it's a pocket knife. If you break into someone's house and you have a pocket knife on you, were you planning on using that pocket knife?
Yeah, I think it's part of my plan. Yeah, it's to defend myself if I get caught doing the crime. Otherwise, why would I bring the knife?
Well, for example, I know people that always have pocket knives on them. I know people that have pocket knives on their keychains.
I understand
so
that.
Hold on. Of reasons that,
okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a concealed carry permit or concealed carry license?
I do not.
Okay. Maybe it's different everywhere else. Okay. But one of the things I stress when you get a concealed carry permit is that once you have a concealed carry permit and you have a firearm, your behavior changes, right? In my mind, maybe you disagree with this. Let's say that I'm at a bar, okay, and I'm getting rowdy like I do with my boys, okay, and some guy's pissing me off and I just want to beat the shit out of him because this is what I do when I go out, okay? I think that I would have different moral and probably legal responsibilities if I was carrying a gun versus not. If I'm not carrying a gun, I don't go fight some dude. Well, fuck it, let's fight. Who cares? Let's brawl, okay? But if I have a firearm on me, I can't fight the guy because now if I start to lose or something escalates or whatever, well, now I have a gun. Now somebody's going to get killed. I think there's a different moral and legal responsibility there. There's a difference between a guy saying well, I always carry a knife in case I have to stab somebody if they try to kill me, versus a guy who's I'm going to carry a knife and I'm going to go commit a crime where I expect somebody to try to kill me or at least do some kind of violence against me to kick me out. Because a guy with a knife, we acknowledge, if a guy has a weapon and he's in a house and then the owner shows up and tries to repel him, he's never surrendering without using the weapon, right?
Okay, in general, there's little things I can quibble about, but sure. I don't think they'll be relevant. So I'll say in general, I agree with you, but I think that it's changing what we're talking about. We've again gone to what the legal definition of self-defense would be, and morally, whether or not you have the right to call that self-defense and to act out upon it, versus what we were talking about originally was using violence part of your planning in the commission of that crime. So let's change the analogy slightly. Let's take someone like George Floyd. Mm-hmm. Let's say George Floyd had a pocket knife on him. Now, George Floyd committed several crimes. He apparently stole something from a store. He resisted arrest. So if while he's getting his head pinned down by the police officers, he reaches in his pocket and pulls out a pocket knife and stabs them in the leg, trying to save his own life because there's an act of violence that's going to take his life, would you say that's self-defense?
Okay, it's complicated because we've got him committing a crime, and then we've got a secondary issue of him being captured by the police officer. So, for instance, if I were to take what you just said, and I were to say the police officer caught him while he was committing the crime, then the answer I would say is clearly and 100% yes. I would say, yeah, he was planning. Yeah, he has a knife on him. He's committing a crime. He got caught while committing the crime, and now he's using the weapon while committing the crime to get away with the crime. I would say the answer is definitely yes. So, in the event that happened where he died, I would still say that, yeah, he committed armed robbery. Even if he didn't use the weapon, he had it on him while he was committing the crime. I think, didn't he use a counterfeit bill? I don't remember what the crime was exactly, but we'll say something like that, yeah. Right? I would say that, yeah, he had a weapon on him. I would say, yeah, I would count that as armed robbery. I guess we could try to look up criminal statutes on this, but I would count that as some kind of armed robbery. But the thing that makes this a little bit more complicated is if a police officer catches you afterwards, and then you're trying to stop the police officer who's killing you, it's such a... I would say it's such a huge... The problem is cops aren't supposed to try to kill you. If he pulled out the knife and he just stabbed the cop as he was trying to get arrested, then I would say the answer is clearly, yeah, it's still committing a crime 100%. Yeah. And I think he had the intent to use the weapon to get away with the crime 100%. Yeah, for sure. I would say. Yeah.
I disagree. I think that although technically what you're saying there is correct, it doesn't get to the broader point. And I think this is directly analogous to your example, which is, can you ever, if you're committing a crime and you have a weapon on you, have a legitimate claim to self-defense? I think the George Floyd situation in that point, even though he committed a crime, even though he would have been armed in this scenario, and even though the police had the right to detain him, because they went too far in how they were detaining him, he would have legitimately had a case for self-defense if he had defended himself using any amount of violence, let alone a weapon, in order to try to save his own life in that point. I don't see how that would change if it's not a police officer. So, for example, if it wouldn't have been police officers, but it would have just been citizens, for example, the owner of the shop that decided to hold him down and detain him and put his knee in his neck, and he couldn't breathe. And so he reaches up with his fist and starts punching back, which is assault, which is an act of violence, but that's clearly a case of self-defense.
I think the reason why it feels a little bit different, or why it's changing a bit, is because now it seems like the other guy isn't just trying to repel you from committing a crime. Now the guy's escalating it into something completely different. Like, for instance, if the let's say that you didn't have a weapon at all and the store owner was like trying to kill you for shoplifting, that store owner would be charged with murder, right? He wouldn't get away with that. Mm-hmm. Right? He's committing a crime there.